Water on PEI has become a hot-button issue, with forums and councils weighing in on the provincial government's new Water Act. The hardest hit may be the aquatic life on PEI and PEI farmers. Jason Webster of Webster Farms in Kincora wants to bring awareness about how blanket restrictions could hurt farmers if variables aren't considered.
I think it's risky to attach stuff like that to a permit like that, because there's just so many variables that I can think of right now just rolling through my head. Like, what if the ground is something you just purchased and you plan to put it into a 3-year rotation, but it was farmed harder than that, like more often than that before, and the organic metals are lower. Well, the irrigation, would let you actually afford to purchase that ground and move forward. So, like, putting a limit of any sort like that, if it is on there, it would have to be very carefully done and well thought out, and I'd be nervous about putting it on because it's awful hard to do, because different soil types react differently, and there's just so many variables to that stuff. It's extremely difficult to put something like that and just say, yeah, if you have this, that's okay, it'll work. It's not that simple.
It's a complicated issue, and one that ecologist consultant Daryl Gagnon has observed firsthand, as islanders continually misuse the island water resources, which affect the aquatic life on PEI, specifically brook trout.
But if you think that at 20 degrees Celsius, a brook trout can no longer metabolize food to digest it properly. At 22 degrees Celsius, it tries to move to get into springs, which means it's very vulnerable when it's moving, if there's small fish in particular. And at 25 degrees, they're either dead or dying. The water leaving Pius McDonald's Pond in the summertime is 27 degrees. So what it means, there are no fish, brook trout left in the summertime below Pius McDonald's.
He says it doesn't just affect the trout themselves, but the fishing industry as a whole.
But remember, all those rivers, St. Peter's, Majel, Marie, and Morel, at least all flow into St. Peter's Bay. And what you don't want is to have poor quality water entering the bay, because there's a multi-million-dollar mussel industry there, and you don't want poor quality water. And so we have to make sure that our whole aquatic ecosystem, right from the very headwaters right through to the estuaries, are in the best possible condition for the various uses, not just for wildlife, but also for our industries.
Gagnon also says collaboration is key to the conservation of the water on PEI and around the world.
Or estuarine or aquatic, in such a way that it is sustainable over a long period of time, which requires international cooperation as well. So we're not just in this alone. It has to be a more regional approach in many ways.
Gagnon remains optimistic on the future of PEI's freshwaters, a view he shares with Jason Webster.
I guess my hope is that we can sort of stop the loss of numbers, and in some cases species of wildlife, reverse that procedure, restore habitat, and make this what I think it can be, one of the finest places on the planet to live. And I think we can do it, but we can't do it unless we work very cooperatively. And if we accept that what the challenges are and find solutions. And it's going to be tough, but I believe that we can do it.
Well, I would like to hope that my children will see the example that my father has set for me and that I'm trying to set for them. And we're owners of land, technically by the law, but really we're just stewards of the land because we're just using it while we're here. And if every farmer thought of it that way and they have to pass it on to the next generation and keep it in good shape, I think that's what I can hope for my children, is that I can do that for them, and then they can carry that legacy on. And I think we can do that together as long as we continue working together.
PEI remains the only province in Canada completely dependent on groundwater for its source of drinking water. Round 2 of the consultations for the Water Act will begin in the spring.